Now, live WRTV 6 News at 11.
Good evening to you. An incredible escape story tops our news tonight. An escape across the Iraqi border into Jordan, but with an Indiana connection. Dick Clay of Bloomington is a burly German-Irish Hoosier with a mustache. He managed to slip across the border with 34 Filipinos by pretending he was one of them, that he was a citizen of the Philippines. His story started in Kuwait, where he was working. He made it to Baghdad, where he stayed for 3 days before making his daring dash into Jordan and for freedom. How did he do that? Well, we hope to find out in just one moment. He can't hear us right at the moment because he can't hear us through his earpiece, but we're working on that. But in the meantime, we have his wife here, Claudia, and we're going to talk to her for just a couple of moments while we try to get the technical aspects worked out in Amman, Jordan. And first of all, did you ever worry that something like this would happen
No.
to Dick?
No, I never did. It never crossed my mind, or for that matter, his.
Okay. We now have the link hooked up now to the Mideast, so we're going to go over there right now, and I'm going to talk with your husband for just a moment. Dick,
Okay.
Can you hear me? Dick Clay is in Amman, Jordan.
Yes, I can, yes.
Okay, very good. I've got your wife here. We've been talking for just a moment, and we're going to talk with her in a few more minutes. But first of all, I want to talk to you about this incredible journey. At what point did you hatch this plan? At what point did you say, I think I can do this?
Well, roughly about 3 days after the invasion, you know, I started looking for ways to leave. This plan came to mind, although it was the last resort that I would have used and eventually did have to use because all other roads and gateways out of Kuwait were blocked.
You didn't pass yourself off as a Filipino, but you did pass yourself off as somebody who had a Filipino citizenship. Tell us about the papers that were made to allow you to fool the people over there.
2 Filipino employees that worked for me, well, first at that time, some Filipinos had their passports. Many people did not have passports. They were in the hands of their sponsors, and their sponsors being Kuwaitis, you know, they weren't able to get in touch with these people either because the Kuwaitis might have left Kuwait or for various reasons. The embassies were giving travel documents to people in lieu of passports. 2 Filipinos that worked for me picked up blank travel documents and then actually forged the necessary documentation or stamps that would go on these documents.
Okay, so we're gonna fast forward here a minute. You get into Baghdad, you hide out there for a while, get back on a bus, and make for the border. You get to the border and you meet up with some guards who really question who you really are and where you were really from. Tell us about that.
Well, I had already, as a matter of fact, had the travel document was stamped. 2 Filipinos left the bus, took all the documents from everybody on our bus to the customs people and had our documents stamped for exit. When they returned to the bus and the bus went to the gate, one Iraqi officer came aboard and again checked everybody's documents. Of course, when he checked my document, he smiled and, as a matter of fact, he said, "Are you a Marine?" And I said, "No, I'm a Filipino." He said, "Get off the bus," and at that point in time,
Okay, we have lost the audio to Amman, Jordan right now, but what he was continuing on to say was that he was detained for about 6 hours while they questioned him more about where he was from, what he was doing there, about was he a Marine, was he a U.S. citizen, and as we understand it, finally, they let him back on the bus, and one of the guards just smiled at him and said, "Goodbye. Goodbye, Marine. We'll see you." Now, are you back now, Dick?
yes.
Okay. I just relayed to the public, to the viewers, about the fact that finally they did let you back on, but they really didn't think that you were a Filipino citizen. They thought you were an American.
I think so, yes.
At any point, were you fearful for your life? Did you think that you were going to be taken back and not allowed to go across the border?
Yes, I thought I would be apprehended, fearful for my life. In a situation like that, I don't think you really think about that. All I wanted to do was get out, just simply that.
Okay, one other question before we bring your wife in here, and that is, describe quickly what life is like there right now in Iraq and in Kuwait. Give us an idea, a first-hand view of what it's like there right now.
Well, in Kuwait, the day before I left, the Iraqi government passed a law or an edict that anyone that helped Americans or Britons, any Westerner, would be hung. That meant the people that maintained the buildings, the concierges that took care of supplying water to the buildings, that type of facility, all these people left. They did not turn people in, but being fearful for their lives, they just left the buildings. These buildings, the water supplies in these buildings are not like in the United States. They actually bring water tankers to the buildings that have holding tanks on top of the buildings where the water is deposited and then used. This happens on a daily or bi-daily basis. I knew, and everybody in the building that I was in, there are some 38 people in my building, and roughly another 150 people in 3 other buildings that I was in communication with, knew that at that point that they were not going to have water. The other item is food. You could only buy food in Kuwait at the cooperatives that were in the area where you lived. To buy food, you have to show identity cards. No Westerner would be able to buy food because showing an identity card, he would be apprehended.
So you truly are
the
trapped.
Situation is, right, and the situation is very desperate for those people.
Right, okay. Right now we're going to bring in your wife, Claudia, and she can see you even though you can't see her, so say hello to each other. I know you've already talked on the telephone here, but hello once again, huh?
Hi, babe. I'm
Hi,
just glad to hear you, and I have heard you a couple of times, and I finally can see how you look like, and you're all in one piece.
She said you looked a little bit tired earlier. We were watching a feed of Nightline that you're going to be on a little bit later on, and she said you looked like you were just a little bit tired. And I guess that you are.
It's quite a time difference here, and these people here, they're working 24 hours a day, and I just didn't have much sleep. But no problem for me.
Well, I can assure you, when you get home, you can get all the sleep you need, okay?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Dick Clay will let you try to get some sleep. We thank you very much for staying with us, and congratulations on your endeavor to get out of there. And I know you'll be anxious to get back to Indiana and see your family and friends once again. Will you make a trip back? Will you make a trip back over there again? Quickly?
To Kuwait, no, and hopefully not to the Middle East. But if the right opportunity arises, I'd certainly suppose I'd have to think about it, because that's what I do. That's the kind of work that I do.
And that's something you're all going to talk about, I guess?
Definitely.
All right.
Yes, we want him home all in one piece, like I said, and we're going to try to keep him.
Okay. Well, it's nice to have everybody back home almost, huh?
Almost.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing up and coming to Channel 6 tonight from Bloomington, making the trip up here.
You're most welcome.
We appreciate your insight, and good luck in the future.
Thank you very much, and I'm really anxious to see him home, and I'm not going to be able to sleep well until he steps into that house.
Then you'll believe it.
Right.
Okay. And he should be home in about 3 days.
I hope so.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much to the Clays for showing up tonight and for giving us an incredible insight into what life is like over there and what life is like waiting for somebody to come back. Thanks very much. Over the weekend.
Comes with weather. Now, live WRTV 6 News at 11.
Good evening, Indiana. Angela has the night off. In our news, it was a moment his family had been waiting days for, and a moment that many American families have yet to savor. The return of a loved one from Kuwait. But Richard Clay of Ellettsville made it tonight. Let's go out to Indianapolis International Airport and our Ben Morrison. Ben?
Greg, it has been a long, long road to safety for Richard Clay of Ellettsville, but tonight his journey is over. The 46-year-old Hoosier arrived home about 90 minutes ago at Indianapolis International. Clay made a daring escape from Kuwait last month with the help of Filipino workers he supervised.
Just glad to be home. Glad to be back in Indiana.
Feel like a hero?
No, not really. Just glad to be here, that's all.
Now, after escaping, Clay returned to free 34 Filipino co-workers. Claudia Clay summed up her husband's heroics this way.
Brave. Very, very brave. Somehow there was a God, that led him to what he did, and he was able to do it. He was able to pull it, and he got all those people safe and got him home, and now he accomplished what he wanted to do, and he's coming home.
Dick Clay says the first thing he did after reaching freedom was have a beer. Clay told me that he plans on spending a few days here in the Indianapolis area, Ellettsville area, where he lives in Monroe County, and then he plans on going back to work. But this time, he's going back to work in Houston. Greg?
Ben, it's obvious he wanted to get back to Monroe County, but I wonder, before he left, if he indicated whether he knew anything or had heard anything about another Hoosier, Joan Kadja from New Harmony.
No, Dick Clay did not mention her specifically, but he said his hopes and dreams are that everybody can get out of there safely, and obviously she is among them. Ben Morrison with a live report from Indianapolis International. Now back to you.
Ben, thank you very much. While it's a night of celebration for the Clays, for another Indiana night at 11.
A sleepy, late summer day in a small Indiana town never looked so good to one Indiana man. That man, Richard Clay, returned this weekend from the Middle East after a harrowing month on the run and in refugee camps. Today he talked with Linda Lupier and reflected on what he left behind.
When he stepped from the plane on Saturday evening, Richard Clay was a man who left behind his job, some co-workers, his clothing, and chaos. He returned to his family and freedom.
Clay says that it's great to be home, not just Ellettsville, but the United States. He says having been through something like he's been through gives him a whole new appreciation for our freedoms.
You know, you kind of take things for granted, you know, living in America. You know, your basic freedoms, you know, when they're taken away from you, you know, then you can imagine it. That's why I said that everybody should cherish the freedoms that they do have.
After seeing what he did in refugee camps, Clay will never again take his freedom for granted.
You know, there's just so many people coming across that border, and most of these people, when they come, you know, they don't have anything. You know, they don't have, a lot of them don't even have luggage. And there's just no facility there, you know, to take care of these people.
The engineer for an oil service company seems haunted by the camps. He says the people there could be anything from a laborer to an engineer, all trying to get away from the heat, hunger, and thirst, and to go home.
Can't get these people out. That's not a problem. The problem is the money to do it, getting somebody's attention to do it.
Having spent years in the Middle East, Clay has a picture of Saddam Hussein and what he is.
I can tell you one thing about this guy. He's not leaving Kuwait unless somebody, you know, forcibly removes him. Simple as that. This guy, you know, he's a 9th century barbarian. Simple as that, you know. And anybody that thinks that they can deal with him, you know, they're wrong.
Clay returns to Houston today to the company he works for. Then he's hoping for some time off. From Ellettsville, Linda Lupier, 6 News.
Here in Indianapolis, a North Side woman was injured when a fire broke out this afternoon.
Of actual events.